everyone. My name is Vernisa.
Hey y'all, this is Jen.
And this is our podcast, Speak Up. What's up, Jen?
Hey girl.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Glad that we made it to episode 70.
Oh my gosh, y'all, 70. Wow.
We're so close to 100.
I know.
For those of you that don't know, me and Jen are best friends. And we create this podcast to use our voices to motivate people to overcome life's challenges through self-love and respect.
That's right. If you don't know by now, self-love and respect are two core values we hold near and dear to our hearts.
Yes, most definitely. But before we get started, we have a few announcements.
Just wanted to remind y'all that you can catch us live and unfiltered every Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, only on the Good News Radio. You can call in, you can type in the chat, interact with us during the show. You just have to download the Good News Radio app, and you can do that by clicking the link in our Instagram, and you'll find how to download it right there. So yeah, check us out every Thursday, 8:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Yes, for real. Check us out. And also a quick shout out to our sponsor, My Bar, located in Inglewood, California. Come get your nails done, your lashes, your hair. Just come feel good. She just hooked me up recently, as you can see. Ask for My and tell them that SpeakUpJV sent you. The Instagram is at myy.bar.
That's right, y'all.
Yes. So, Jen, what is our title for today?
Today, our title is called V is for What?
Is it for Vernisa?
Always.
I had to say that. Y'all, but what is V? I know y'all was wondering what V stands for. V is for value. We're talking about value. And we go a little deeper with value. You know, we've done plenty of episodes about knowing your worth and value. But we talk about, too, you know, just because someone has a certain status, a certain title, a certain relationship to you, that doesn't give them the right to treat you less than your values. So we're talking about living up to that, even when dealing with different types of people that you see in a certain lens.
Absolutely. Yeah. You ever be afraid to talk to somebody just because you know who they are, you know, they are the CEO of something and whatever. And don't get me wrong, yeah, people work hard for those titles, but at the same time, they're still people, right? And this is what we're going to try and emphasize in this episode for y'all.
Yeah, like, I'm a firm believer of, like, everyone deserves respect, no matter who you are. Like, we're all human. We all should be treated a certain way. And I think we're in a time where just because someone is whoopty-whoop or they're certain popular or something, that we think, some people think it's okay to let those people disrespect them because of who they are. Or we have to, like, treat them like a extra better because of who they are. And it's like, honestly, I feel like we all deserve genuine respect, you know. And I think that goes with self-love and inner peace.
I agree 1,000%. At the end of the day, only you can keep those standards for yourself, right? And this is why we're gonna say even it's important, like, no matter what it is, it's not just you as a person, but even like with your business, right? So we could start with this. If you have a certain business that you're trying to build or already have and you're currently revamping or whatever it is, you need to think about what kind of values you want to put into your business. And we're not just talking about like integrity or community or anything like that. It's more of like, yeah, what do you want your business to say about you, right? Do you want it to be something people take seriously? And most of the time, yeah, this is probably the case, or else you wouldn't have started the business in the first place.
Yeah, and it comes with like how you carry yourself, what value you put into yourself. And I think it starts with your own value, because you're going to put that into your business. Because if you're not valuing yourself, if you really don't care, where that energy is not going to play out in your business, right? So we're saying this too, like, don't be afraid to make a big pitch. Don't be afraid to put a price on your business in a certain way, especially if you're putting the work in. I think you deserve to reap the benefits of that.
Absolutely. And you think these successful business people have been to where they are at without ever having made that pitch. And then the thing is too, you have to know that, yeah, you might get rejected, you know, the first few tries, but all it takes is that one right yes for you to be able to put your foot in the door where you're trying to be headed.
That's so true. Like, yeah, me and Jim been like strategizing on our big pitches and how we're gonna, you know, how we're gonna pitch them and things like that. And honestly, it starts with the value of ourselves and us not being afraid to put ourselves out there, and also carry ourselves in a certain way, even if it doesn't go as planned.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? We want to emphasize that even when somebody doesn't see the value that you're trying to put on your business, it doesn't mean you shouldn't either. It doesn't mean your value stops or lessens or anything. At the end of the day, you shouldn't have to lower yourself just because somebody else doesn't see what you see.
Yes, for real. And also too, I want to say too, all of our time is worthy. All of it, you know, like, I'm just saying, just because someone is a certain status, that doesn't give no one excuse to waste your time or lead you on or anything. If you really, you should still carry yourself with my time is valuable, what my service is valuable, regardless of what happens on the other end. Because I just think, like I say, we're all human, we're all normal people. We should all be held accountable for our integrity and how if we do waste somebody's time or not, depending on who you are. Just because you have this big CEO doesn't mean you can waste someone else's time. Because real CEOs don't like their time wasted, but it should be both ways. You know, no matter how big you get or how small your business is, we should still be all respectful of each other's time.
I think this is really important to emphasize, because nowadays a lot of people are looking for a come up, right? Or maybe you are genuinely looking for a connection and seeing how you can connect with other people, which is cool, or collaborate. And I think this is a way, obviously, to get exposure on both ends. But the thing is, if you know that you're not going to value someone else's time, you're not going to really take it seriously, then don't even start, right? I think this needs to be emphasized, because that way we could stop wasting each other's times, like we were talking about. And see that, okay, maybe this isn't the right connection I have to make or whatever, but at least I didn't waste their time saying yes or pretending that I was interested, and then in reality I wasn't.
Oh, I love that too. And then if you're on the end of the person making the pitch, make sure you got something to pitch. Because like me and Jim been to different seminars, and the main thing that they said is, how can I work with you if you don't have anything already started? So I think that goes with you value yourself enough to start, to have something, a portfolio, something to show whoever you're trying to pitch to.
Yeah, that's the thing. You are valued by what you can show. Unfortunately, sometimes that is the case, but I think it is really important with businesses. How can I go to like Ramsey, for example, and say, I am a great cook, I do this, I do that, but I have nothing to demonstrate to him. I don't have a portfolio, I don't have a dish ready, I don't have a pitch for a show that I'm trying to make, or whichever. So this is really important. Like, don't just let your ideas just be in here. Make sure they're tangible. Make sure it's something that you can provide and prove.
Oh, I love that. And a person's title shouldn't make you lower yourself. So if you were to pitch to Ramsey or whatever, like something, and that person didn't like it, that doesn't mean that your value goes down. Maybe, we're not saying don't accept tough love or criticism. Work on whatever it is, if there is like some real criticism. But if someone completely shuts you down to the ground like you're worthless, it doesn't mean you're worthless because that was someone's opinion of you. Maybe that just wasn't their taste or their cup of tea, but it doesn't mean you should stop what you're doing because of that. If anything, look for ways to make yourself better if you feel like this is something you want to pursue, and someone who has skill in that is trying to teach you.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is way more important. And then too, if you feel intimidated by somebody, ask yourself why. When I was younger, I used to struggle with this a lot. I used to be afraid to even go to like my teachers after class and ask for help and advice. So I'd be like, ooh, they're gonna think of me a certain way or whichever. And now the older I've gotten, the more kinds of people I've gotten to meet with all kinds of job titles or statuses or economic backgrounds, and even though it's great finally getting there, I realize that they're not going to take me seriously if I don't. So if I approach them like somebody who's scared and meek and just doesn't know what to do, then of course they're going to treat me that way, because I'm already showing myself that way with that first impression. How is anybody really going to get to know what I want and take me seriously if I'm never putting myself out there to do it in the first place?
That's so true. And I think too, when we put too much power on other people, like we use their title, who they are, we start to value them more than we value ourselves, because we feel like, oh, they're this, so I'm nothing. And I think that's when that negative self-talk comes in, and you feel like you can't get to where they are because you forget to be inspired. And I think never stop being inspired. If you want to inspire and grow, do that. Allow yourself, because I used to be like that. Like, let's say I admired somebody, I used to like put myself down to value the other person. This doesn't mean they're not valuable, but I was putting myself in a negative shadow because I admired someone so much. And honestly, that's not healthy either. Now, it's not me on no hater tip, because I never was like hating on people, being jealous or envy, but I would like look at my lacks, but instead of like trying to fix it, just like, oh, well, I'm not that. No, like, in a day, you're still valuable, you're still worth having that. Yeah, that's chapter 10 of their book. You're on chapter 1. It's still growth and stuff that you have to do to get to that. And there's other valuable traits of all those. We can all learn from each other. That person who has that skill or that accomplishment that I'm looking for, there's something they can learn from me as well.
Right, yeah. Why do I have to be less than just because I'm not where I want to be yet? And only you can create that projection of yourself, because if you carry yourself like a millionaire, even if you're not yet, do it. That's where you're setting that value for yourself. That's where you're taking your time seriously, your whole demeanor and just who you are seriously. And I think a lot of us, we wait to get to that moment, right? We wait to get to the top, wait until I'm this, wait until I'm that. But you don't realize how important it is for you to get there if you don't start now. The way you're thinking of yourself now, the way you carry yourself now is going to reflect later on when you finally do get to that status.
That's true. I feel like you're setting that foundation, you know, like one thing about me and Jen, and those of y'all who ever emailed us, we're very professional when it comes to that. Like, we're very strategic. What do we say back to people? We try to make sure things are organized, especially when we have a guest, things are done in a timely manner. And it's like, we're telling, me and Jen say this to ourselves, you know, we're starting out, but imagine a day comes when we are booking bigger guests, we're doing things, we have our thing is, our SpeakUpJV is a big company. We're going to have that organization. I want that integrity with us knowing like, okay, you know, they handle things professionally, but if we don't start those skills now, how are we going to have that later? Like, what if it gets bigger and we're still like, you know, we're lagging on people's messages, we're not organized, we're not professional, you know? So it's like really holding yourself accountable now, learning those useful skills so that way when it does blow up, you have them.
I agree 1,000%, y'all. What you do now sets you up for what's going to happen in the future.
Oh, that is so real. So let's go into another topic. Let's talk about too, you know, don't lower yourself with romantic standards. You know, everyone loves to talk about romance, so, you know, we have to throw that. It's self-love and inner peace. We have to throw that in there. But
it's everything.
It's true. Like, when you value yourself, you have yourself in a certain way, there's going to be certain standards that you have. Like, it is what it is. But I think, you know, in love or romance or, you know, what comes into it, sometimes it catches us off guard because we get so enthralled into how we feel about the person that we forget who we are as a person. And I just entered a new chapter in my life. And honestly, like, I tweeted this the other day that this chapter is literally about me. And I've been learning so much about myself and like the peace that I have within myself, or things I had to work on within myself, with just myself, right? So I'm in a space now where I feel like if I was to add to that, is this enhancing or is it be detrimental to the foundation I already set within myself, the value I already set with myself, you know? And I think it does take those. That's why me and Jen talk a lot about, you know, spending that time alone for a little bit, because if you don't know what it feels like in your own peace, you're not going to know if someone's messing up your peace or add to. Because sometimes too, we don't know what our own peace feels like. We blame ourselves when the other person is not bringing peace. We think, oh, it's me too, or we blame ourselves because we really don't know what real peace feels like within ourselves, in our own world.
Yeah, I think that's important. I know some of y'all have probably been with your partner for a really long time. Maybe the first person you've been with is the person you're still with, and that's okay. But we want to emphasize you never stop being you, even while being with somebody else. And this is where those romantic standards come in, where you still need that me time, even in a relationship, in a marriage, you know, even if you have children, like, you still need that me time. Sure, it may look different than for, you know, us who are single or have been single for more time, but it still is important, because if you start lowering your standards in a romantic way, you're just, again, placing that value more on the other person. Their needs are being valued more than your own. Well, what about you? You never stop being you. You're still a whole life inside of you. You still have all your worries, all your doubts, you know, your stressors, everything is still there, even if you're trying to make that other person happy. And the thing is, you got to find that satisfaction within yourself too, because it becomes to a point where you have to realize you've done everything you could to help that other person, but it's still time to help yourself out. It's like, I've said this before, right? How do we become fans of all these sports teams and all these celebrities and things like that, but we can't become fans of our own life, of our own personalities, our own nature? And especially in a romantic relationship, sure, be your partner's number one fan. I don't see anything wrong with that, but be your number one fan first. You never stop being you, no matter what your title is. Even if your last name changes, you still never stop being you.
That's so true. And like, I've been really like trying to figure out, but like think about what, for a romantic partner, what type of romantic partner I want. And I know one thing for sure, I want a man who isn't afraid to spend time with himself, who wants his own space, who knows his value without me. Because we oftentimes too, we work on ourselves so much that we get with someone and they place all the value on us. Oh, I got this partner, but that's their identity, to where they don't feel valuable at all, unless, and it goes to the whole thing of like not wanting to be alone. You feel like your partner is your value, it enhances it, if it's a mutual thing. But I learned too, like, I want someone who knows they're valuable with or without me, both ways though, 100 with that. So I think, when you're carrying yourself with that, this is with business, it's like with two business partners coming together, both know their value, their asset, two companies coming together, a partnership, they bring that and they enhance with it. It should be the same romantic wise, but no one should be the value of the relationship only, because that's where one side is carrying dead weight.
Exactly. And then it becomes dangerous even for the person who does value themselves too, because we did a whole episode on this too, being placed on that impossible pedestal, right? No matter how much you value yourself, self-love and inner peace you practice in whichever, it doesn't mean you're better than anybody else. It just means you're working on your life a little bit more. But if you find a partner who just places you here, the thing is too that we want to emphasize, even if you're working on self-love and inner peace, your flaws are still there. You are not a perfect person no matter how much you work on yourself. There's always something to work on, and there's always certain traits of ourselves that we're going to carry no matter how much we work on them. So if you have a partner who's just placing you on this impossible pedestal, what's going to happen when you disappoint them, or when they realize like you do have certain limitations, or you still need your space aside from them? You know, it just becomes this whole culture of neediness and codependency. That's where all that comes in, and you become consumed in each other. And I say this from experience too. Like, I've been consumed in relationships by my own choices, of course, and it's been hard recovering from that, but also being in it, you don't realize how much you're just being placed on this pedestal that you can't hold on, because pedestals crumble too. At the end of the day, we're all human. We're gonna disappoint each other. You know, even if we try our best to keep each other happy and everything, we're not gonna be able to be 100% right all the time, 100% perfect. First of all, that's boring, but it's just impossible.
That's impossible.
Yeah.
No, that's real. And then also too, like, if someone with a status rejects you, it doesn't lower your own value. So remember that, like, you know, it goes with the whole seeking validation thing. Like, someone shouldn't determine our worth. That goes to romantic partners as well, just to throw that in. So let's talk about the effects of lowering your standards. So when you lower yourself, you stay low. Like, I feel like once you when you push it down, you're not going to focus on the growing. You're going to focus more on, damn, how did I end up down here? Why am I down here? And that's all really. But when you are, it goes with that whole thing, speaking life into yourself. When you are, you know, building yourself, building your value, you're going to constantly keep growing and elevating and attracting better things around you.
Yeah, and to me, when I lower my standards, I'm actually telling myself I don't know what I want. In that case. Yeah, because you really are telling yourself, oh, I deserve this, or it's okay, I can't get better, or, you know, X, Y, Z, like, it's just not gonna happen for me. And that's where we start self-limiting. I've talked about this on a live episode, where we sometimes are the problem to our own obstacles that are happening in our way. Because yeah, sure, life is going to throw obstacles at us, but the thing is, if we're putting that mentality in the first place, then yeah, it's not going to get any better. We're not going to be fighting for us. We're just going to be like, oh, okay, well, this is what it is, and then that's it. And that even going back to like relationships, I'm sure y'all have heard this quote, we accept the love we think we deserve, right? And for me, it took me a long time to realize that. But yeah, what you put up with in a relationship, and you're just like, oh, well, I'm stuck here, you know, we have history, I've done this and that, or
history, that's the one.
Yeah, then you're just kind of stuck in that. Who wants to be stuck in anything? I know I don't. I've learned that I've been fighting for myself for way too damn long for me to just feel stuck somewhere or with somebody that I have no business being with. So when I'm not fighting for my own standards, or I'm not setting my own standards, I'm just allowing that to happen in the first place.
I love that. And also too, when you set your own standards, right, you're building yourself, you're adding value, you're able to customize this list of what you want someone else to bring to the table. Because let's be real, if you're bringing it, you have a right to ask for that. You know, how many people, I mean, let's be real, this generation today, I want this, I want that, I want a man, I want a girl that has this, but they ain't got none of that, half of that even going on. You know, I'm not saying don't wish big, don't dream big, don't want the best for yourself, but can you supply that too? We did an episode on that, but I'm being real. When you value yourself, you have more of a right to request those things as well.
You have a right to ask for what you already bring to the table.
That part.
But the thing is, yeah, don't ask for what you can't. Right? I mean, yeah, we did a whole episode on that before too. And of course, we've talked about this. You can't force somebody to see who you are. So you can't make someone value you, but you always have that power to walk away from it. Everybody has that power. Life is full of choices, right? And it's about the choices that we make. So if we're choosing to stay with somebody or stay somewhere where we're not appreciated, not valued, then that's where we feel like we belong. And no matter how much we yell or we try to prove ourselves, you know, seek that validation, if that person or that place is just not gonna be able to handle you, then no matter how much you do any of that, it's not gonna make it any better.
Yeah, we actually have more power than we think. And I've been learning the power of my own presence. That right there, you could pick, do I want to be here, do I not want to be here? Like, you literally, it's like when you take your own car to a place. Like, you go to an event, you can leave when you want to. You can come. Like, I love pulling up my own stuff because I'm like, I got that choice. So it's the same with our life. Like, You know, because we did this too. You taking accountability on how long we've allowed something to be in our life or to play with us, you know? So it's the same thing, having that power. And I learned too, I always tell my lesson of the week, I was telling Jim, my lesson is like not forcing things anymore. Like if it's in alignment, it's going to work out. If it's not, the table's going to shake and it's not going to work. But when we try to force it, we said this on another episode, that's where those bigger lessons come in, because the lesson was supposed to be taught there, but we refuse to learn it. So it's the same thing with valuing yourself. Like, you know, if someone is, if you're dealing with someone who doesn't value you, or, you know, they don't value themselves, it just slipped my mind. But when you're dealing with that, they're most likely going to fumble it. And it's going to be detrimental to you and the other person in the long run.
Ooh, that's big, y'all. And of course, we couldn't get through this episode without talking about social media.
Thing, right?
The social media illusion. So, I mean, I don't be on social media as much anymore, but I know this happens a lot where we feel like we value people because of their followers, how many followers they have. We see that number, that K or that M, and we're like, oh my gosh, this person, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, sure, they may have worked hard for whatever they're dealing with, but if you take off all of that, I always say this, a soul is a soul. So if that person is not right within, or even if they are, you know, it doesn't mean they're any better than you are. This is the biggest thing I want to emphasize. Like, nobody is better or less than you. You know, we all have different spoons we've been fed. We all made different life decisions. We all decide what we want to do with our soul and, you know, our knowledge and everything, the power that we have. So even if somebody does have this large amount of following, it doesn't mean they're good people, you know, and I'm not knocking anybody down. The thing is, though, we just need to get out of that bubble that, like, oh, because they got 500K followers, you know, they must be great. They're this person, they're that, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you ever meet somebody and you realize they're not that great of a person.
Yeah, what we're trying to say is too, like, don't reject people because they got only 200 followers or whatever, low number of followers. In the day, it's really about the character, because I can't tell you how many times people came up to me and Jen just trying to show me their followers, and we're like, one time me and Jen were on a trip and we heard this conversation behind us, and this dude basically was trying to get this girl to come to a party, and, you know, she was like, no, and he was like, look at my Instagram, I got this many followers. She said, I don't care about that.
Yeah.
Like, she cussed them out though, but it was funny because I'm like, yeah, like, he thought flopping his Instagram page around was gonna get her to go to the party, and it's like, but the way he was talking to her was disrespectful too. So it's like, she already wasn't feeling it because the way you approached her, and then you thought because you have followers, she's gonna. But me and Jen like talk about social media because it has such a big impact on our generation, on our self-love, on our inner peace, because it's constant. It's in our face. We're on it all the time, so we have to talk about this topic. So yeah, like how, you know, these social media handles promote only big superstars, and like they're the popping one, they're the only businesses worth. It's no, just because support, like we said this too, support your friend's small business doesn't make their business less valuable than a bigger one just because the following base is smaller.
Exactly, that's true. And again, social media is just on your phone, on a laptop, whatever, wherever you view it. Okay, in real life though, what does that matter? Like, I remember one time we were at an event and we were talking to somebody, and, you know, they were acting like a certain way, like being all cocky and all this stuff. And I was like, who is this person? And then we looked them up and they had all these followers, but I was like, ugh. First of all, I didn't even know who he was. And second of all, like, I didn't care, you know, but I think what threw me off more than anything was the way he was treating us. Like, we were supposed to value him a certain way, you know, because of the title or followers he had. And then he was talking down on us, like ignoring us, making it seem like our time wasn't valuable, you know. So that's what I don't appreciate. Like, stay humble no matter what. Even if you are someone with a pretty large following, there's nothing wrong with staying humble. I don't know why people are so afraid to just show that side of themselves. Like, not only help bring other people up, but just realize, like, all of that can go away like this. Literally. I've always said this, if social media shut down forever, who are you?
It's like that time when they thought Facebook was going for good. Everybody on Twitter was going crazy. Like, oh my god, Facebook and Instagram was gone. They thought it deleted. But people really didn't know what to do. Like, they're like, oh, but it wasn't even on like a note, like, oh, I love my social. It was like because that's where their status is, the popping is. So it's like, let's be real and genuine in real life. And let's talk about too, sometimes we have to break away from how we were taught to value ourselves. So, you know, like I always talk about this, growing up in a childhood, you know, being raised in a negative self-talk environment, you know, or not getting words really instilled in me like that. You know, sometimes that's how you value yourself. You kind of grow up with, because that's how you were raised, you know, especially if like, you know, you didn't get the compliments or things like that growing up. So it's hard for you to, how you expect to just wake up and be valuing yourself. So, you know, sometimes we have to unlearn those things and find healthier coping mechanisms so we can start to value ourselves.
And of course it's hard, right? I know some of y'all are hearing us, oh, that's easier said than done.
We know. That's what we talk about.
Yes. Everything that we talked about before, and I've said this before, we never said it's going to be easy, right? None of this. But the thing is, at least for us, we are grown enough to start knowing we want different. Let's do different, be different than the childhood we grew up in, the household we grew up in. Because at the end of the day, if we just continue to use our traumas as excuses, or, you know, nobody ever showed me love or anything like that, what you're gonna get to 50, 60 years old and still saying the same thing.
Not wanting to love yourself.
Yeah, and then wondering why your life is going a different way. Like, at the end of the day, sure, it sucks some of the things that we've experienced in our childhood, or maybe have continued to experience in our early adulthood, but it's about what we do with what happened to us that really defines who we are. It shows our character, it tests our strength, and really what we're made of. But if I just continue to use that as an excuse, then again, I'm going to be self-limiting. I'm just going to be wondering why my life isn't really going anywhere.
And this, we were saying this to say, don't give people the power to put value over you. Because if you were grown up and no one was valuing you and stuff, think about it, we kind of grow up expecting that love from other people, like people not to kind of value us or love us a certain way, but that's us giving that negative force, that power to put the value, place the value on us. So we have to be able to put value on ourselves. So that's why it goes with us working on ourselves, taking accountability, self-reflection, trying to ascend, being the best version of us, so that way that value comes in.
Yeah, exactly. At the end of the day, people can see if you value yourself or not.
Oh, it's
and they will take advantage of it, or they just won't take you seriously, or they just won't even pay attention to you. And that is why you need to carry yourself a certain way, because there are going to be people like that anyway, no matter who you are, right? Even us, we've encountered people like that, like I was mentioning earlier, people who don't take us seriously, people who just want to waste our time or whichever. But it's about how we carry ourselves moving forward from, like, okay, you showed me who you are, let me show you who I am.
Oh, and there's people, like you said, to take it, I love what you said, to take advantage of it, because there's people that really look for that, look for people who feel, I mean, let's be real, that's how manipulative partners are, toxic partners. They purposely seek out people who, you know, who they can manipulate. They feel like is a target for that. But it's crazy to me when you do carry yourself a certain way, it's different. Like, I don't know, I remember there was a space when I didn't value myself. I was in lower time 2 years ago. I feel like I got everything. Like, every dude you could think of was gravitating to me. It's like it had the target on me. Like, oh, but it's crazy because the more I've been working on myself, image who I am, it's like the BS kind of just
the trash took itself out.
Yeah, like it's like you know, I'm not saying things don't still come to me and stuff, but it's not. It's like a use. I can't explain it, but it's true. People can literally see that. You know, people have senses to that.
Yeah, and
that's real. And honestly, y'all, all this relates to self-love, because self-love is valuing yourself. You know, it is working on yourself, doing what you have to do. And you know, guess what? When you do value yourself, that brings that inner peace.
Absolutely, that is number one. Like, self-love is one thing, sure, on the surface, but internally, it comes from that value, and only you can place that value on yourself. Ask yourself, like, what your standards are, right? Because that's where they actually come from. If you value yourself, then you start to realize what you want, what you tolerate, what are absolute deal breakers. And then that's you placing your price, right? Because I've always wanted to ask myself too, what is my price? And I don't mean this in a material sense. It's more of like, what is my price as a human being, right? Do I want to emphasize that respect on myself? Emphasize that I carry myself a certain way, you know, not better than anybody, just there's certain BS I will absolutely not tolerate. And that's because I've tolerated in the past certain things, certain ways people have talked to me and treated me, and even ways I've treated other people, and then changing that as I'm getting older, realizing that no, I am still valuable no matter what anybody else says.
That's so true. It's like when you buy a new pair of shoes, they're brand new, you're like keeping them clean, make sure no one steps on them. You have your shoes that you use for cleaning and stuff. You don't really value those dirty, those ones you. So it's the same with ourselves. When we're treating ourselves like the dirty shoes, that's what's gonna come. It's gonna be used for clean. We're gonna be through the worst situations. But when we treat ourselves a certain way, the best situations kind of come up out of that. So no, it's true. And it's like, next question: how do we raise our value? Oof. And we decided through the episode, taking accountability. I think, the self-reflection, you know, recognizing when something isn't for your spirit, and isn't sitting right with you, if something is detrimental to your peace. So like I said earlier in the episode, I've been able to sit with my peace lately, so I know what it feels like. I know what I feel like for myself. But now I'm like, okay, how do I feel when certain people are around me? This goes with friendships too, anything. I'm not even just talking about men, women, whatever. I'm talking about everything, so how even a job, whatever, if that does that bring peace to my life, like whatever, like how do I feel in those encounters?
And this takes a little bit of leaping out on faith, right?
Lord,
not just faith in the universe or whatever, faith in yourself, that you're fighting to make that choice for yourself. Because walking away from something that's comfortable, something you've known, whether it is a job, a relationship, whatever, it's hard. And you may question yourself of like, dang, is this the right choice? Like, am I really going to do this right now? But when you really think about and reflect with yourself and decide, you know what, my value is more, I want my standards to be more, then that's where you start. You start realizing where you've just been settling and tolerating, and what your actual deal breakers are in every sense. And me personally, I've said this before, I like to compartmentalize my life. So I think of my life as like my love life, my career, my fitness, everything. And I ask myself, where am I settling in different aspects of my life? Because at the end of the day, I can only take that accountability for myself, for the decisions I made, the things I've tolerated and just allowed in my space.
That was deep. Hope y'all were listening to that. And also too, ask yourself what image do you want to project. So this goes with yourself, this goes with your business. So Jen and I's podcast focus on self-love and inner peace. Me and Jen always say this: when you meet us in person, I want people to know like they really are like that. Like, we're not just on no mic, acting like this, and then you meet us in person, we're different. Like, I love the fact that like people we've known a lot listen to our show and actually know us to be who we are. Like, we want to be ourselves, be as authentic as possible when you meet us or when you're watching an episode, so that's the same thing. What image do you want to project? So if you're running the type of business, how do you carry yourself? Are you holding yourself accountable? Are you on time? Are you professional? Like, what do you want your business to stand for? And is that a reflection of you outside of you working that business?
It's not about striving for perfection. It's not
For
about pretending, because this is big too. I'm never going to deny my past. I'm never going to say, I've been this way, I've always loved myself. And absolutely not. Like, I struggle even still sometimes with self-esteem. I struggle with self-talk. So recognizing that, though, when I was younger, has allowed me to become who I am now, but realizing the work never stops. The growth is always there. The thing is, you have to take that opportunity. You have to wear your own crown and realize that you are a king, queen, whatever you identify with, who deserves more. But the thing is, only you can do that. Nobody else can place that value on yourself but you. Nobody else can raise those standards but yourself. And take it day by day. If sometimes you tolerate certain things and then you look back and you're like, dang, I shouldn't have. Okay, start from now. Start from today. Why do you have to beat yourself up for working on yourself?
That's so true, because I still have days today where like I accept things lower than what I'm worth. But I feel like sometimes too we have to go through those stormy moments and through those dark forests to wake us up. Like, okay, that's not what I needed. Like those rock bottom, like we said on another episode, those rock bottom moments teach you a lot. So I'm not saying we out the woo. That's why me and Jen are very transparent on this show about things we've been through and how it's related to us. It's like our diary. This is actually our healing journey. Y'all are witnessing us. Go to episode freaking 15 and then listen to today. No, don't. But you will see a change in this. I think I'll look back like, whoa, I was going through this. But but I think that's the beauty of this podcast, is being able to know all that.
Yeah, this is our accountability project.
Yes.
Like, I don't know how else we can show you that we carry ourselves a certain way, but it doesn't mean we don't have our dark moments. It doesn't mean we don't struggle. But we've realized only we can determine if our value goes up or down. So it may fluctuate. One day your standards may be super high, you may be feeling yourself, and then the next day you may not, but only you can determine if you want to get back up from that.
That's real. And what was a good question to ask yourself?
Well, I mean, I had asked it before, like, what is your price, right? So ask yourself all the time, what is your price? Again, not materialistically, that's a whole other topic, but what's your price? What's your soul price?
Woo!
I think that's where you need to really ask yourself that question.
And don't be afraid to pick your crown up and wear it. That's what we're saying, wear your crown. Like, why leave the crown on the table? Wear it,
Absolutely.
Yeah, so what's our wrap up for the day?
Well, So we just wanted to leave y'all off with that V is for what? For value.
Value. And bringing such like. But we appreciate y'all tapping into our 70th episode. Real quick, a quick shout out to our sponsor, My Bar, located in Inglewood, California. Go get your nails done, lashes, and hair. Ask for My. Tell them that SpeakUpJV sent you. The Instagram is at my.bar.
That's right, y'all. And just a reminder that you can catch us live and unfiltered every Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, only on the Good News Radio. Download the Good News Radio app. You can click the link in our bio and find it in the App Store and listen to us, chat with us, call in. We love when y'all are interacting with us because it lets us know that you're feeling it. So definitely check us out on there and check out the other shows on the network too. You will not be disappointed. So live and unfiltered every Thursday, 8:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Yes, we appreciate y'all tapping into our 70th episode. Make sure you check us out on Instagram at SpeakUpJV. Tweet us at SpeakUpJV. We love to hear from y'all. Like Jen said, check out our live episodes and, subscribe to our YouTube channel if you're watching. If you're listening on audio, please come and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're on Spotify, Apple, apparently iHeartRadio. SpeakUpJV is global. We appreciate all the support. Tell your friends about your homegirls. Love y'all.
Love y'all.
Bye.